Hey people, got y'all some gold here. I lost some subs on that movie on the Matrix a couple movies back when I said that men don't have a matrix. And I'm going to double down on it now because I found it in Egyptian too. It's the same thing. In the happy matrix. Where is the place of birth? In happy matrix. You can get this book on Google Books for $8.79. First Steps in Egyptian Hieroglyphs, book for beginners. Or I'll show you what you can Google and it'll give you a whole chunk of this First Steps in Egyptian Hieroglyphs, 2003. And it's a good place to start, but they don't quite get it. The same people that's translating the Hebrew and the Greek come straight from the Vatican. They're translating this too. But you see it plainly says, the Matrix and Internetter. The Matrix Internetter. A couple of movies ago I was wanting to show why I said Sab is south and it represents an asshole. So I googled the Egyptian hieroglyph for south and I come up with this book and it shows it 5 times here in several different ways, the king of the north and the south. And so this is a MI, what they'll say, the milk container in the word cat. And it's the mix. The plant is the X. And the mixed in it. The mixed tint, TNT. Mixed tint can be north or south. And this reads, sep there's on of an aques. This is a ash. You just give them an AS most of the time. And you see other little markers that change it up. He's got a beard on. That usually means wise man. So I'm reading this, QUIAS. And so they don't read any of these determinatives. And so if you're not reading it, you have to be looking at it to understand what it means. But they have a meaning. And this is let, LT. And so, to sep there's on of quest and sublet. Sub, under, let, sublet. Sublet as it in mess, in happy matrix, intern it her. Intern it her. They got a bunch of it right in here, but if they get the rest of it right, it just reads English. The ancient Egyptians wrote in English. And I believe this reads backwards. This is errata. This is one of them top secrets, but it's might be called a netter, but that's only when it's backwards. When you read it, this is errata, and it's a rat and eater, ETER, a rat and eater. It's where your word ready come from. At the races, they'll hold the flag up. When it's time to go, they drop the flag, and so the flag up means get ready. And I believe it's the ancient symbol for the Romeo flag, was one of the Nordic languages called it. But you can see it, in the matri, the matriarch, and the atrix. Anything that has atrix in it means feminine. So it's not then who then is its guard, They know it's the matrix. The matrix interniter. The matrix interniter. And so, she's a rat eater because, all the feminine, they were all serpents. The masculine was frogs and their wives was serpents. And Ratty was also the goddess of love. And she was the consort of Kama, the god of love. And so this south here, is this scepter is on of Fessin and Fesser's Inlet. In the Fesser's Inlet. And they'll spell it other ways here too. Here they got of the south is the Fema. And here they got it with a word. They have no idea what set of letters to how to read this. They don't know what it means. They just assume that it means north and south. And it's neck, and this represents gout, proud, of the old ways. And the serpent represents new. It can take his old skin off and renew itself, be young again. And so they're giving that the north and the south. But it's pretty easy to see what all this book's about. It's excerpts taken out of several books of the dead. To To pattern what in sex with you. A cake of offering makes strong thou him. To pattern what in sex with you. All these determinatives that they're not reading, they have a letter combination that you can read in it. This is A-B, the ob, the father. It's like a sperm. And you see it silent here, of new. A-V, and then 3 N's, the N-U. You see it silent in this poison, the poison twice here. And so they're calling this a met, but I believe it's a N-I. When I studied this before, it fits better as a ing. And that's what it is. An N is the seed, and the I is to make. The seed make is ing, N-I. Oh, tell thou it to me, and shall come out the poison. And it's really just a tang, a T-A-N-G, a tang in T-U, a tang to of new, the tang to of new. And then the next time, it's the F, it's the fang to of new. And so he's screwing the serpent. In this body of king, of king is intact and assure. Intact and assure, that's the king. And this do not thou make answer to a master. This is M and wick. This is the international symbol for why. It means why, how, or who. It means questioning. M-Y-W-I-K. M-wick what? This is a X, and this is a S-E-S. M-wick what's but says. And then the A-S, you see he's pointing to his mouth, the call. The A-S-K, to ask. M-wick what's butts asking. M-wick what's bus asking. What's butt asking. And this Isis, the great lady of enchantment, said, run, poisons come forth from Ra. The poisons come forth. Is it honor the checked? What sept of? And winked, the 3 marks is the third vowel W. W-I-N-T. Or W-N-I-T, winked, to wink to. Of new, the pearlet, P-R-L-T, the pearlet from measure. And so they say this is Ra, and sometimes they'll say it's Ma, the sun, and sometimes it has a serpent on it. And when this was the symbol of Mu, it meant M. It's the ancient letter M, Ma. Where checked of scepter. Where checked of scepter, we had to check it out, to sept of. When it too of new, a pearl it from measure. And we can see a better spelling for Alexander here. Alex enters, I-N-T-R-S, Alex enters. And then the certain is call. The father lovers being priest of Alexander. Mary of Shur in Alex enters. Certain is call, which no. And you can see how silly their interpretation is. Is the mouth of a calf of milk on the day of his birth, are presented to the nipples of Osiris, the nipples upon the breast of Horus, of his body, thou seize them with my mouth. Thy libations these, Osiris, thy libations are these. So in this vowel counts with these O's here, this is the oldest writing, and it's before they turn these O's just into lines. But this is just the third vowel count, the U. And so are presented to thee is Zer pink. It's our pink suck. S-A-K, S the suck, and then U, the suck was her. The Sir pink suck was her. Succum, it's S-A-K-U and an M. Sir Pink was her succum. Top TP, top, and menintit. They're not reading this part over here. They just reading this MNT. They're leaving out. This is a tit, and it's the menintit, the breast. And this Horus, this is just plain old her. The U doesn't belong there, and it shows up top of the page. That's just a her. So Horus is feminine. The succum top menintitsen, her, not it coming, the not it etqmn, not it coming. Then the K reading here, the correct, not in coming correct. And Quebec upon as her, Quebec upon. Libations, that's when you're burying somebody and you pour a beer out on his grave, libations. And Quebec upon as her, Quebec upon. And so Quebec, that's Navy for quarantine. The quarantine upon as her, Quebec upon. And you see that's what it's talking about, is the titties all through here. You'll see this word. And that's what this is, the titty, TTI is all they're getting here. And I don't know what they give this, but it's a scroll. It's what you scholars get. You go to school, what's your diploma. And I'm pretty sure it's an SCH. And it's the titties, the costed income check to ask. Got his hand on his mouth. ASK. The words of magical power. To ask for some titty. These titties always going with the magical power. The magical power of the memories. You see up at the top, it's got some help with all these hieroglyphs. And this one called evil, this is just a lower, LOWER. And so, you have birds look similar to this, and it's just the letter U. And then you have another one of these, and it's called aware. And if you look close, you'll see this one stooping down a little bit lower. And that's why it's evil, because he's lower. And you see, to be exhausted, this is a G. And this is a G, and the N is, two N's is an E, gone. It's gone. You see his arms hung down. Gone ashore. Exhausted. And this daughter, this is STAS and then TS, backwards and forwards. And the set, assets. She sits on her assets. And this cedar tree, it's named for its medicinal properties. This is an AS, the as, and this is a ma. They're not telling you what this is, but this is asthma. And so this letter here, this is a determinative with a phonetic value of UT or HSB, what has in. And it's a determinative for an odor. And look it up and you'll see that the ancient people knew that cedar was good for asthma, the asthma. And you can see it here in the putrid sore. And so you can see it, they were reading this F or this Q as a P sometimes, and it's poot is in. And the destitute, are what to lower. You can see here the lowers, this is the zoo, this is Toth, and zoo is the word for command in the Hebrew, and zoo is the intelligence, and the lower, not just the wares, but the lowers. The lower too is the chiefs. And so they'll say this door, is the same as the Hebrew patah, meaning to open. And you've seen that in, I think it was in the Greek, the Peter, they said was to open first. And it's like a door or a path. But it's not a path. It's to open as a pitch. The pitch is that first line you send out there. Hey, baby, I got a Maserati parked in back, the pitch. You see it in the Hebrew like this, and the men who were at the doorway of the house, That's the pitchman, the salesman. They come, they stick the foot in the door, and they shoot that pitch, the opening. This stuff I'm selling here will clean your whole house while you're at the movie theater. The pitch have it. HVIT have it. And what mission, backwards after this tack, what mission am I SNA? And an AE becomes the ES, And so it's what missions on them, what their job is, what missions on them, what they're doing. Assure it, backwards, EHTE it. Assure it, pitch have it. Their salesman is what it's talking about. And who stands at the entrance of the gate of the city is the pitches her. The pitches her the whore. The pitches a whore, at the gate of the city hollering out, trying to get some work, And you see the whore down here after the tack. And here it's turning, the fin and Basing the fin of the old. So it reads backwards, Rio, the old river whore. And when chased him, and he fled and run him out of the city, it's what pitches are thrown out. And most of the time it comes up, it's the entrance to the tent, and it's the pitch, and then EA becomes the ES, the easel. What pitches easel is a painter, and what pitch easel weave crew. So he's a Briton, and he's sent by the government to write about all the wildlife in Africa, and he's got a whole crew behind him. He steps out of his tent and he pitches easel, and pitches easel weave a crew. He's got a whole crew of servants working with him, and that's where you see this come up mostly. And it's where your word, the pictures, comes from. The opening. When you open the book, the first thing's there is a picture. And the picture is on of the south wall. And so pictures on of Fesser. He's one that gives up the information through the pictures. The sublet, the underlet. As it in Messin of the happy matrix. So he's drawing pictures of the happy matrix. It's a matrix right here. The R, the beginning, the happy matrix. Enter. To go back in the matrix that you come out of. So there's a whole bunch of this that's real easy to read. I guess, you have to, I've been reading on this Hebrew for a while, and it's the same. It's where they come from. It's just Hebrew, you're not seeing the pictures. Here you just have to memorize the groups of letters that go with the pictures. In the Hebrew, they just cut all that out, just put the letters in. But it all pretty much reads the same old ancient English. And my old program is getting stiff here. But y'all holler if you're more interested in this Book of the Dead. And I'll leave this link in the top comment. But the way I got this, I googled Egyptian hieroglyph for South SA. It's trying to sell books, and so it's going to look for every place that these words are in there all together. We can find all these words on one page, and sometimes it's connected to the title of the book, and it's just looking for a page that says for South SA. And so it gives me options of all the pages. And so if you Google something different, it won't give you all those pages. And it'll highlight them in blue everywhere where the South come up. The South and the SA. So it found this SA and this South on the same page. And so, we get all our English definitions out of these words right here. The matrix is the matri, the mother, and hex, the mother's hex. And she's hex with the mark of the ovum. Ma from mother, mark, ovum, hex. Only mothers have the hex of the matrix. When a matriarch, the mother on top, the matriarch. And I can see right now I'm going to have to do another movie on this because I see this symbol here that I ran into somewhere else and explains it well. But I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.